Good day, this is George McCaslin. I am the online moderator for the Dad's House Educational Group. Today we will be reviewing the article on child support modifications in the Dad's House Manual.
What do I need to know about getting my child support reduced? The bank says that our positions are being phased out. There apparently is less need for check entry as less people are writing checks, and programs are getting better at reading handwritten checks. Is there anything I need to be doing as regards the child support I pay? I have already begun putting out resumes, but I know of others that have been laid off since July and still have not found jobs. Do I need an attorney to get my child support modified, or can it be done pro se? Are there any considerations that I need to know about getting a modification, or does it go strictly by my income?
Child support modifications. As a provision of the Federal Child Support Enforcement Act, every 3 years the states are required to review, and if it is found there is a minimum 20% difference in the amount being paid, whether higher or lower, adjust the child support order. However, prior to that 3-year period, the involved individuals can also initiate a review because of changes in finances. In this economy, that most frequently is happening as a result of the growing losses in employment. For this reason, child support obligors need to understand the process and the system. To begin this process, go to the first link to gain a better understanding exactly what child support is, how it came into being, and the different types that can be ordered. If you are responding to a motion to increase your support, you will likely need an attorney to represent you. The cost of legal help need not be excessive if you are willing to take the time to prepare, then interview several attorneys before deciding on which one to hire. At the second link is an article on preparing a chronological statement. This is important to limit the amount of time you spend explaining to your attorney on the circumstances of the case. By having this prepared in advance, it will save you at least an hour, if not more, in legal fees resulting from answering questions. The third link will teach you how to conduct the interviews of potential attorneys with a list of possible questions to ask. Modification request. In today's economy, with 80% of layoffs involving men as a result of the man session, a growing number of fathers owing child support are falling into arrears due to not knowing that free legal representation is available through their state child support enforcement office. Under federal law, the CSE office is required to represent either parent upon request for a modification to increase or decrease a child support obligation. This information is available in the Federal Child Support Enforcement Handbook for Non-Custodial Parents. In ascertaining whether you have a possibility of an adjustment based on a valid reduction of income, you should check your state's website or go to this link for a child support calculator. A minimum of 20% change in the payment is considered a change of circumstance to warrant requesting a modification. If you determine a need for a modification, you can make an official request for a modification at the Child Support Enforcement Office. Do not go there to ask for advice on what to do, as all they will tell you is that they cannot give legal advice. You must inform them that you are making an official request for a modification. Another option that would allow them to decline the request is if you are already in arrears, which is why you must do this immediately when there is a loss of income. However, even if there are arrears, still make the request. They are not immune to understanding to what extent current economics is affecting child support payers. If they do decline because of already accumulated arrears, contact the clerk of the court to request forms and directions for filing a modification propria persona. Further, remember to request consideration of the court to reduce or erase the accumulated arrears if they are the result of a legitimate cause. At the minimum, request that any interest penalties, which can double and triple the amount of the arrears owed, be set aside. Judges. Often judges will turn down these motions, stating that the father could still get a job, so you may need to press the issue. Part of the problem with addressing your rights is understanding what you need to do to prove your case and how to remind the judge of their responsibilities. You must be prepared to address these items. Records of your filing for and/or receiving unemployment compensation. A detailed paper trail of evidence showing why you were released from your employment. What efforts you are making to find a new job and/or obtain career retraining. You should also be maintaining a record of your ongoing efforts in your daily journal. When on the stand, you may have this with you in order to refer to when answering questions. If there is a potential issue of bias, remember that you can request a change of venue to a different judge or county. However, you should always take people with you to court who are not there to testify, but to act as court watchers to monitor and maintain their own written record of the hearing. At this link, there is a court watch form designed for this purpose. If the judge is being unbalanced in his or her view of your case, using the info from this form, you can appeal the judge sanctioned and removed from the case. You file complaints with the state Supreme Court at your state capital. Financial documents. The following is a list of documents that may be relevant to a child support case. You need to be prepared to give these documents to your attorney and the other side, so start making copies now, as it will save you lots of time and money later. Remember that in states where the incomes of both parents are considered in the final calculation, you will want copies of these records from the other side. However, requests must be tailored to the needs of the individual case to avoid frivolous or unduly burdensome discovery requests. Agreements between the parties. Federal and state individual tax returns and worksheets. Gift and sales tax returns. IRS Form 942, which pertains to household help. Business tax returns, federal and state for closely held businesses. Business records and employment agreements, including ownership, assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. Any patents and copyrights. Information on pensions, IRAs, account statements, copies of plans. Information on investments, including account statements, stocks, bonds, limited partnership agreements, reports on investments, net worth statements, personal and business, bank statements, and canceled checks. Trust, medical and dental records, records pertaining to cash expenditures, receipts and invoices by type or above a certain dollar amount, record of charitable contributions, receipts, checks, correspondence, and reports, family budgets before and after the decision to separate in cases of divorce or cohabiting, record of education expenses for parties involved in the case or children, including tuition, room, board, books, contracts, and loans, record of household expenses, utilities, maintenance, improvements, repairs, household help, any other related costs, court records, cases in which client, spouse, or closely held business is or has been a party. Expense inventory. Here is a list of things that you might be paying for now or in the future. Use this inventory to make an itemized list of your expenses and give it to your attorney. Some of these expenses may be addressable under a rebuttable presumption argument. Start by creating an estimated monthly living expense found at this link. Home mortgage payments. Specify whether the amount includes taxes and insurance, second mortgage and/or home equity loan, real property insurance, real property taxes, homeowners association fees, condominium fees, routine home maintenance costs, lawn care including spring and fall cleanup and tree trimming, snow removal, window cleaning, periodic major home maintenance costs such as painting, roof and sidewalk repairs, water softener costs, rent, furniture rental, renter's insurance, maintenance to rented property, food, household supplies, not restaurant meals, Utilities, gas, oil, electricity, and water. Telephone, home phone, and/or cell phone. Dry cleaning, cleaning service, how often. Clothing. Uninsured medical, dental, prescription cost. Insured life and disability. Child care expenses, daycare costs, babysitter costs. Visitation expenses, long-distance telephone calls, transportation costs, entertainment costs, meal costs, support payments required by prior decree, school expenses for yourself and or your children, tuition, books, supplies, transportation, parking, lab fees, activity fees, meal costs, field trips, uniforms, entertainment, movies and video, cable television access, concerts and plays, dining out, in-home entertaining, tickets to sporting events, participation in sports, children's summer activities, camps, etc., children's lessons, dance, music, sports, etc., religious school, children's allowances, children's tutoring, automobile, gas maintenance and repairs, insurance, auto club dues, tolls and parking fees, registration fees, depreciation, installment lease payments, other transportation costs such as a train pass for getting to and from work, etc., gifts for birthdays, holidays, etc., donations, personal donations, donations related to employment or professional standing, installment payments due, name of each creditor, balance owed, payment amount, due date, incidentals, grooming, newspaper, magazines, books, hobbies, pet care, vacations, reserved for replacement of appliances, furnitures, and automobile, membership dues, professional, social, civic, retirement fund, IRA contribution or other, professional services, accounting, tax preparation, and legal, and of course other expenses that you may think relevant. Demonstrative evidence. Here are some items you might want to prepare for your hearing. Remember, court is an audio-visual experience. People remember best what they can see as well as hear. This includes judges who otherwise might fall asleep during your portion of the case. Budgets. Label the budget clearly. You might use more than one, i.e. actual cost of living and projected cost of living. Use of bar graphs or charts to show differences in income and assets or changes in income and assets over time. Providing advanced copies to the opposing side may help limit objections. Use a chart showing calculations of the difference between gross and net monthly income. You might use a computer program such as FinPlan that is designed to make such calculations. Income inventory. Determine the frequency of receipt for each of the following items so that information can be included in any financial statement. In addition, you may want to note specific amounts on weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual basis. Salary, bonuses, commissions, overtime, dividends, taxable and non-taxable, interest, taxable and non-taxable, royalties, pension retirement payments, Social Security payments, disability income, unemployment compensation, public assistance, alimony maintenance, hidden income. Most courts base child support on the incomes of both parents. Here are some things you might consider in determining your income and the other side's income. Consider reimbursed business expenses, car expenses, dining out, business trips that include pleasure or vacation component, club dues, education costs, insurance benefits, or other. To find information about a closely held business, contact or have your attorney contact disgruntled current or former employee. Check for excessive deductions, federal and state income taxes, and Social Security and Medicare. Use previous year's limits. Check for unusual expenditures, such as a year's worth of supplies or the purchase of equipment far in advance of need. Check for excessive prepayment of debts, such as estimated tax payments, rent, insurance premiums, and charge accounts. If copies of the other party's tax returns are not readily available, or if you suspect they are not copies of the actual forms that were filed, you can obtain copies directly from the IRS by using Form 4506. Request statement from the Social Security Administration showing other parties' earnings and estimated benefits. Further considerations. Below are links to articles that also relate to the determination of child support. They address the misconception that child support guidelines are mandatory and who should be allowed to take the child tax credit. Be sure to study these articles to be fully informed on your child support rights. Paying the support. Child support payments should be paid through the court, either by sending the payments in personally or having the payments sent by your employer through wage assignment or a garnishment. Some states require that child support payments made through the court be paid by the non-custodial parent's employer to help reduce the number of cases where child support goes unpaid. Employers can charge a fee for handling the child support payments, and the court can charge a fee for processing child support payments. The only way to avoid these additional fees is to agree that the payments will be made directly to the custodial parent and then to make the payments on time. Most attorneys feel that all child support payments should be made through the court system so that there is a public record of the payment. If you decide to pay directly to the custodial parent, make sure you pay by check or money order. The check needs to be clearly marked in the memo section as being made out for child support. In addition to the check or money order, the custodial parent should give you a receipt for the payment. You need to keep these canceled checks and receipts forever or until you die, whichever comes first. That concludes a review of this article from the Dad's House Manual. When using the manual, please consider clicking on the Facebook and Twitter links at the top to share this material with those in your social network. There are over 40 million divorced and single fathers in America, most of whom are searching around for help in the issues found in this manual. Also, fathers are a frequent target of the media and politicians, inciting what they think is wrong with America. They blame us for fatherless children, even though 40% of divorced single mothers deny fathers access to their children. They call us deadbeat dads, even though only 3% of those ordered to pay child support flatly refuse to do so. They claim that millions of single mothers are not getting child support, without mentioning that 75% of single mothers never applied for any, either due to them cohabiting with the father or not knowing who the father is. If we are to curb the negative picture presented about fathers, then fathers need to be expressing their opinions on it. You can be doing that by writing letters to your politicians and to the editorial page of local and national newspapers. These links will teach you how to do just that. Consider doing it at least once a month. We cannot make our voices heard if we are not willing to speak up. Consider checking out the Zazu stores for Dad's House and Second Wife Club for items to give as gifts or to express your opinion on fathers' rights. First, we have the main Dad's House store with items of appreciation for fathers. From there, we have the Second Wife Club, also for items of appreciation that you would want to give to a stepmother. Then we have the Father's Rights page, which are items for expressing one's opinion on the father's rights issues. And finally, the Other Face of Abuse store, addressing the issues of male victims of domestic violence. For yourself, take the time to study all the material found here, for only through knowledge do we gain power over our lives. Naturally, this material is available for anyone to use, regardless of what group you are a member of, if any group. But if you have not already done so, consider joining Dad's House to discuss these issues with other fathers and learn from each other's experiences. Naturally, second wives and anyone who knows a father in trouble is also welcome. There is no cost to join and use our materials. Also check out the Second Wife Club for stepmothers.